Shalom, everyone. Peace and blessings. Back again with another video regarding In the Beginning. The last video we left off at Bereshit, the 25th verse. So now we're going to go down to the 3rd chapter, 1st verse of Bereshit, or Genesis. Bereshit. That's how you say Genesis, or in the beginning, in the Aleph Bet, or what we call Hebrew. So let's start. And the serpent was more crafty than any beast of the field which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said to the woman, is it true that Elohim has said, do not eat of every tree of the garden? Let's go back and let's talk about this serpent. So this serpent appeared in the garden. East of Eden. And if you notice that the serpent came to the woman. Right here it says, and the serpent was more crafty than any beast of the field which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said to the woman, is it true that Elohim has said, do not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said to the serpent, we are to eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim has said, do not eat of it, nor touch it, lest you die. Now let's go back and read where that was first given to Adam. Right here, Bereshit, the 2nd chapter, in the 17th verse. Well, let me start at 16. And Yahweh Elohim commanded the man, saying, eat of every tree of the garden, but do not eat of the tree of knowledge. But do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. For in the day that you eat of it, you shall certainly die. So that's where Hawa, who we call Eve, was making reference to. Back here in 3 and 4 of Bereshit, and the serpent said to the woman, you shall certainly not die. Now that's through the power of suggestion. And see, this is what we're supposed to take from this, is when you know what the word said, or you know what the word of the Most High said, you know the word of Elohim, He said, when you eat from that tree, you shall certainly die, or you shall surely die. She knew that. But through the power of suggestion, she was moved to go against Elohim's word. This happens every day. This is why you have to be steadfast in knowing what Yah is telling, or Yahweh is telling you. Yahweh Elohim gave the woman and gave the man his law. And they both went against it. Let's read it. 5. For Elohim knows that in the day that you eat of it, your eyes shall be open, and you shall be like Elohim, knowing good and evil. So, the power of suggestion was strong to the woman. But remember now, remember when he gave this law to Adam. But she still knew the law. So obviously they were both warned, don't eat of that tree. So let's look up serpent in the Aleph Bait. Let's look that up. Yeah, let's look up serpent. Here we are. Serpent. Genesis or Bereshit 3:1. 5175. In the Hebrew called the dictionary. In the New Strong Exhaustive Concordance of the Bible. Let's go back here. 5175. Here we go. You have 5175. The word in the Aleph Bait is nakash. Nakash. From 5172, a snake. From its hiss, serpent. Now, let's go to 5172 and let's look at the definition for nakash. Because this is what's in reference directly to the individual that was in the garden that gave Eve the impression that she had a choice. Nakash, prime root, to hiss, whisper, a magic spell. To prognosticate, certainly divine, enchanter, use, enchantment, learned by experience, indeed diligently observe. This was the one that was in the garden. It's the same word, spelled the same way, Nakash. The only difference is, let me see. This Nakash has a W here. It doesn't have it here, but it's the same word. That's why I made reference to 5172. Enchanter. Okay? That was the serpent that Eve or Hawa encountered. Let's continue. 6. And the woman saw that the tree was good for food, that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree desirable to make one wise. And she took of its fruit and ate, and she also gave to her husband with her, and he ate. Let's go back up here. For Elohim, this is 5. For Elohim knows that in the day you eat of it, your eyes shall be open, and you shall be like Elohim, knowing good and evil. That was the power of suggestion, the enchantment. You hear this every day. After you know what the Most High told you, you would still go against his word. That's why I take my time. When I do these videos, I take my time and I read verse by verse, chapter by chapter. Sometimes I repeat myself. I may repeat the verse. I may reread the verse so that you can get a better understanding. It says, and she also gave her husband with her, and he ate. So it was almost like the serpent knew, well, I'm going to go to the woman because the man was already put on alert. Let me go to the woman. See, this should be a great lesson to the original man regarding the original woman. See, a lot of times she can get you to do something when nobody else can get you to do it. She was the one that brought it to the man. And this should be a lesson that if you know as a man what the Most High has told you, what Elohim has given you, you can't let a woman, your wife or any woman, take you away from what the Most High told you. Now, even to the female, to the woman, if you know what the Most High told you, don't you do it. It's the same thing for you. But that man was warned. But she also knew. Let's continue. 7. Then the eyes of both of them were open, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together and made loin coverings for themselves. Now, let's go back here, because I want to make this point. Wait. Let me continue. 8. And they heard the sound of Yahweh Elohim walking about in the garden in the cool of the day, and Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Elohim amongst the trees of the garden. And Yahweh Elohim called unto Adam and said to him, where are you? And he said, I heard your voice in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked. So I hid myself. And he said, who made you know that you were naked? Have you eaten of the tree of which I commanded you that you should not eat? And the man said, the woman whom you gave to be with me, she gave me of the tree and I ate. At this point, both of them are guilty of this sin. See, this is the weight of this passage. When you're told by Elohim not to do something, or you are told to do something, that's why you have to search these scriptures, these laws in these scriptures, to learn the do's and the don'ts. If he tell you not to do it, you are not to do it. If he tell you to do it, you are to do it. Because in the day that you sin against Elohim, you shall surely die. Now let's go back. That's the point I want to make. Now they've already eaten. Okay? They've already eaten. Let's see the result. Now I'm going to skip ahead in this passage or in this story because I want to make this point. This is 5 of Bereshit, first verse. This is the book of the genealogy of Adam. In the day that Elohim created man, he made him in the likeness of Elohim. Male and female, he created them, and he blessed them and called their name Adam in the day they were created. Okay? Let me go down here. To 5 and 5. So all the days that Adam lived were 930 years, and he died. Now that should give you the moral of the story. Now remember, in the day that he had eaten, he didn't die that day. But that warning was not for that day. That's the thing about sin. Sin will eventually catch up to you. So in the day that you go against the Most High and what he told you to do or not to do, that's the same as death until you can repent and petition the Most High for forgiveness. That's the whole premise behind understanding the scriptures and the foundation of these scriptures. So with that, I shall bid you shalom, peace, and prosperity.